Hello everybody, I'm Nash Solomon and this is Solomon Sports Talk. Today we're going to be discussing the recap of the Thursday Night Football matchup of the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts and a few other NFL topics going around. And today I'll have a special guest featuring Brett Melton, everybody. Thursday Night Football, Indianapolis Colts, Houston Texans, a pretty anticlimactic finish. The Colts won 27-20, Brett. Brian Hoyer steps in after Ryan Mallett goes down with a quick injury. We didn't think it was going to be too severe. But Hoyer ends up keeping the spot and throws for 312 yards and 2 touchdowns. Makes a terrible throw at the end of the game. What do you think of that?
I think he did as well as he could have in that situation. He made a terrible throw at the end under pressure. But here's the thing: you can't go into it. And it is the NFL. You can't keep pulling quarterbacks. I mean, they've changed the starting quarterback 3 times now.
Yes.
And you can't at playing quarterback. You can't do that. You can't keep changing quarterbacks. If you're going to go with one, you need to go with him. If you're going to pull one, you need to pull him for the rest of the season.
Well, this is my thing. I mean, they spent pretty much all of the offseason knowing Hoyer was going to be their guy. Obviously, Ryan Mallett didn't play too well last year. And they spent 6 months with the guy, and then they only give him 2 games. And yeah, he had a bad 2 games, but I mean, it's the start of the season. Why do you only give him 2 games and then bring in Mallett, who's an inexperienced quarterback other than the experience he had last year, which he did not very well at all. And as we saw tonight, Hoyer steps in and goes 24 for 31, 312, and 2 touchdowns. Yeah,
I mean, it's the same thing Brian Hoyer went through last year with Johnny Manziel. I think if I were to go with a quarterback right now, I loved what Brian Hoyer did this game. Despite the pick at the end, it's questionable, but all in all, it was a good game. I mean they were down 13-3. He brought him back. I think
30 yards away from tying the game.
Here's the thing: if you're going with a quarterback next week, who are you going with?
I'm going with Hoyer. What he did tonight.
Yeah, based off that, I would go with Hoyer, and I would go with Hoyer for the rest of the season. To be honest with you,
yeah.
I think if you keep going back and forth, it's going to create a thing. And I also didn't like how Ryan Mallett acted after the when he got pulled. He told. I mean, you're basically if you're the leader of this team, you can't be throwing your helmet.
Especially in the quarterback position.
I think the writing was on the wall when Ryan Mallett when they announced the starting quarterback over the offseason, and Ryan Mallett didn't even show up to practice the next day.
Very much so. It's like coach, like quarterback. We saw Bill O'Brien get very upset when Brian Hoyer made a terrible throw, which, I mean, definitely when we talk about leaders on the team, the coach is the most important leader. And when we see the coach overreact, you know you're going to see your quarterback do the same thing. He's going to resemble right after him. But let's take it to the other side. What do you think of Matt Hasselbeck stepping in for Andrew Luck?
I mean, I said it before the game. I thought Matt Hasselbeck was going to be really well. Was going to do really well. He's a veteran, and he's not just some veteran that's been on the bench, been on 1,000 different teams. He's been on a lot of teams, but he's also been in a Super Bowl. He's been a starting quarterback in the league for a long time. I thought he was going to do really well, and he did. He did really well with this offense. I'm interested to see where they go with that. I sort of called it after the game. I thought he might get a contract with another team after this.
And I think Matt Hasselbeck played exceptional also because Chuck Pagano utilized them perfectly, as we see right here. 18 for 29, not overreacting on the passing game. He still threw for 213 yards and 2 touchdowns to Andre Johnson, who had an amazing homecoming in Houston tonight. So Chuck Pagano basically said, I'm going to put the hands of my quarterback, but not too much where he can make mistakes. And we're going to lead it to a veteran receiver, Andre Johnson, and let him rise to the occasion at his.
But also, too, I mean, they even said it during the game. They didn't change the offense completely for Hasselbeck. I think they kept the same game plan that they would for Luck, and he fit in perfect. I think as a veteran, I mean, he did exactly what he needed to.
And I think the only change they probably would have made is you just got to be more conservative. You can't go for those long distance throws like Andrew Luck would, or 3rd and long. You're probably going to go for a little screen play or give it to your big man across the middle rather than Andrew Luck find a TY, a small receiver to throw into a quick window. So I think Matt Hasselbeck played a great game. He definitely was player of the game, was the X factor. When you have a backup as good as that and rise to the occasion and can still win on the road in a division matchup, then I think it's a win-win for your team.
Absolutely.
And with Andrew Luck coming back next week, let's hope they're playing the New England Patriots. That's going to be a tough matchup, so I think they do need him back because I don't think Hasselbeck still has the juice in him to play in a big game like that.
Hey, let's talk about it. I mean, that's your team.
What is there to talk about, Brett?
Well, I mean, that's your team. What do you think the Colts are going to do? Andrew Luck comes back. What do you think they're going to do?
I don't think there's any wrong situation that the Colts – I don't think the Patriots can take an L in this situation either way because let's say Andrew Luck comes back. Now you're playing with an injured franchise player. He's not going to come back right away and play like he usually does. And if you don't have him play, you have Matt Hasselbeck come into a tough situation against don't get me wrong, Patriots defense is nowhere what they can be, but it's Bill Belichick's defense. They always play to their full potential.
I mean, I before the season started, I had Andrew Luck picked as an MVP. Not only that, I even possibly had Colts going to the Super Bowl. But as they're playing right now, I mean, I don't see it anymore. So, I would have to take Patriots.
Very downhill. I would definitely take the Patriots. I mean, the way Brady's been playing. And also, you got to count on the factor of Deflategate.
Yeah.
This whole thing started against the Indianapolis Colts. You know this game's going to be all about Tom Brady and no one else. He will probably have 50 to 55 passing attempts, which is insane. You're going to see him. He's going to connect with probably every one of his receivers. Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski, and Deion Lewis.
I mean, this is what Patriots do. They, under pressure, when everyone's against them, they come out and they play. I mean,
yeah, they feed off of it.
And they cheat, whatever, you know? So there's 6 undefeated teams left in the NFL. All right, Nash, we got Patriots, Green Bay, Falcons, Broncos, Carolina. Who's on deck to lose first?
You know, honestly, I think the most vulnerable team to lose in this situation has to be the Carolina Panthers. They have a bye week this week, and don't get me wrong, that defense is phenomenal. But Cam Newton doesn't have a whole lot going on offense as far as receivers. And they're going to a bye week this week, but they do go into Seattle and play the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle's 2-0 at home this year. I think they're 18-2 at home against NFC teams since 2012. And let's be honest, Carolina's not going to beat Seattle in Seattle, so they are my team that's the most vulnerable to lose. I definitely think Falcons, Green Bay, and the Patriots will continue because Patriots have back-to-back road games, Dallas and Indy. Like I mentioned before, Patriots are going to go into Indy, and they're going to play fired up because of Deflategate. Patriots are playing against Dallas. Tony Romo's out. Des Bryant's out. I think that's a 2-0 right there. Green Bay's playing at home back-to-back games. St. Louis, a great defense, but Aaron Rodgers has not thrown an interception since 2012 at Lambeau, and they're playing San Diego. San Diego's not very good on the road, and I think Phillip Rivers will make a lot of turnovers that will very much cost them. Broncos are going to continue to grow also because they're playing Oakland and Cleveland, and they're going to go 2-0 both those games. So they're going to for sure go 6-0. And like I mentioned with the Falcons, I believe they'll go 6-0. Also, they're playing Washington and the Saints, which are both teams that are notorious for turnovers. Although Washington might give them a semi-run for their money, but they will not walk out that victory.
I agree with you. I think Carolina loses to Seahawks. I think San Diego gives Green Bay a run for their money, though. I think San Diego's a lot better. I think Phillip Rivers is a lot better than people are giving him credit for.
You know, last road game I saw the San Diego Chargers play. They lost 31-17 in Minnesota. Phillip Rivers, 2 pick sixes. I don't like the way he's been playing on the road. And in Lambeau, Green Bay is phenomenal. They're just like Seattle in Seattle. It's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, I'll give you that.